Announcing Rinseless Wash version 2.
Hi, I'm Yvan.
I'm Nick.
And this is the DIY Detail Podcast. Today we dive into the changes in Rinseless Wash that we've made in version 2 and the changes we haven't made, because there's a lot of things in V1 we didn't want to change.
The first thing, and we can call this Rinseless Wash, we might call it Rinseless Wash.
Yeah.
Ivan, wait, let's start there. Is it rinseless or rinseless?
It's both. So the term rinse less is just to really emphasize that you don't do away 100% with rinsing. You're just rinsing less with a rinseless wash. So that's why, eventually our label might change to be rinse less as opposed to all one word. In reality, it's the same thing. It's semantics, as some people have pointed out. But at the same time, it's just to drive home that fact that rinseless wash doesn't mean you don't need a hose. Rinseless wash doesn't mean you don't use a pressure washer. Rinseless wash simply means that after you've done your contact wash, you don't need to rinse it off the surface.
It has a lot of lubrication left on the surface, so it can be its own drying aid.
Exactly. And that's another confusing thing, because some people think a drying aid is something with protection. Some people look at a drying aid as lubrication, like you just said, and some people look at it as a drying aid as something that's going to add gloss and shine. DIY Rinseless Wash will aid in lubrication, will make your towel glide a little better, will make it easier to dry, safer to dry, but it will not add any protection whatsoever. And it does not, change the gloss, the look, or anything of your paint other than leaving it perfectly clean.
So we've shown a little B-roll of Rinseless Wash in action. It's the same Rinseless Wash y'all have loved, okay?
Right.
But you're going to notice a slightly milkier appearance. Ivan, what have we changed? Because V2 was a long time coming.
Yeah,
we came out with rinseless when not a lot of people had them. If you've noticed, every brand under the sun now has a rinseless. We've been getting a lot of calls saying, I want yours to be slicker, and da-da-da-da-da, and this brand has this. And quietly behind the scenes, our little elves have been working away for version 2, so we're not here to mess around.
Definitely. So version 2, the changes are very simple. We've changed the polymer package in it, and the polymer package in it gives it that milky appearance, so what you mentioned before, but also gives it a little more slickness when using the sponge, when using your wash mitt, when using your microfiber towel, and also when drying. But the important thing to remember is it still doesn't leave anything on the surface. So it's not going to interfere with your LSPs. It's not going to change your polishing when you're using it that way. When we're wiping it off when we're using it to wipe off polish residue, it's not going to leave anything on the surface that's going to hinder the application of your ceramic coating or LSPs. So that's a very important part, and something that took a lot of R&D to do because of the fact that we wanted to increase the slickness, and we've been working on this for almost 2 years now. This isn't a new project that we just started 3 months ago. It's been going on for a long time.
Well, no, one thing you counseled me on when we first got into business together is you said, we talked about sort of how a business runs, and because you've been involved with products in the past, and there's the creation of brand new products, and then there's the behind the scenes constantly working on tweaks to always stay innovative and improve. And I didn't quite get that. I was like, we got all these great products, what do we need to improve on? And it made sense now. It's like, well, as we continue on, the whole industry continues to evolve, and so we have to evolve as well. So that always from the beginning, it was how are we going to be innovating R&D behind the scenes, even with existing products, so that we can always sort of stay on the cutting edge of what folks can get out there.
Yeah, definitely. In business, there's no such thing as standing still. Either you're moving forward or you're moving backwards. Standing still doesn't exist. And when you're just resting on your laurels and going, hey, we got this, we're good. Yeah, that's when you get passed by everyone. So we're not allowing anyone to pass us. We're staying, we're foot to the floor, accelerating all the way. And, part of that, the Rinseless Wash is our biggest selling product. And it is the product that sort of defines us in a way for a lot of people. And we didn't want to screw up a good thing, first of all, because, the Rinseless Wash, if you have version 1, don't run out and buy version 2 today because it's out. No, continue using the one you have. It's still a great Rinseless Wash. It's not, old tech. It's not past. It's just the
Still
fact
amazing.
that we just found a way to improve it. Well, actually, a few ways. But that polymer package that's in it is, like I said, it has improved the lubrication aspect of it. And this is something a lot of people have commented on with other rinselesses and with our rinseless, is that it's slick or it's not slick, and some people find our rinseless really slick. Some people find our V1 rinseless not slick. So it really comes down to perception of how you're using the product. The other aspect of that is what is slick to us as human beings may not be slick to the paint. And our first priority is to make it slick, i.e. safe for the paint. I can make 3000 grit sandpaper with a couple chemicals seem really, really slick. Like it just glides across the surface, yet it's scratching the surface. So, with the polymer package that we've worked on and developed and, played back and forth, we have that a little additional slickness from our original version, but still maintaining the safety. Actually, we've improved the safety a little bit of the product because we could. And at the same time, we're, again, not leaving anything on the surface. Because a lot of people sort of cheat in the way of, we just overload it with polymers and we leave polymers on the surface. And then that can screw other things up down the line.
So other brands, hypothetically, could add polymers to give the perception of slickness, but then they're leaving stuff behind. So what you're saying is ours, I'm just kind of asking these questions that I think we're going to have out there. Ours doesn't leave anything behind still, right?
Correct, yeah. So technically speaking, if you use the gold standard polish to polish, you can wipe off the polish residue with our Rinseless Wash and coat right over it. We still recommend you use Panel Prep or the app, but that being said, there's nothing left on the surface after you use the Rinseless Wash to wipe it off.
All right, let me fire off a few other questions folks are going to have.
Yep.
Dilution ratio for version 2.
Okay, so get ready. Get your pencil and paper ready here.
Notes?
Yeah. Get your notes going. So for exterior washes, 256 to 1. For windows, 256 to 1. For interiors, 256 to 1. For clay lube, 256 to 1. For cleaning wheels and tires, 256 to 1. Basically, 256 to 1 is the only ratio you need to know. We're not doing this 8 to 1 for this and 32 to 1 for this and 64 to 1. No.
Clay lube.
Yeah, 256 to 1.
Window cleaner.
256 to 1.
Interior cleaner.
256 to 1. Or if you prefer 4 milliliters to a liter, half an ounce to a gallon, or 1 capful to a gallon of water.
What if I'm doing a rinseless wash on wheels? Will stronger dilution clean better?
No.
It'll streak
Not at
more.
all.
Hypothetically,
Yes.
the streaks will happen if you use more product and spend more money on product than Ivan tells you. So just 256 to 1. I was just, playing
4
dumb there.
milliliters to a liter. Just keep it simple.
Yeah.
Capful to a gallon. Enjoy. Have fun. Don't overthink it.
1 cap full to a gallon, and that's also 1 ounce to 2 gallons. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
4 milliliters to a liter. All right, we got the dilution ratio. We got the cleaning. Folks are going to notice the milkier appearance. So let's go through the benefits here. It's going to look different. Is it going to smell different, Ivan?
No, same apple or green apple scent. It's been my preferred scent for rinseless for 20 years now. When I worked for another company, I had them make rinseless just for me that was green apple scent because I didn't like the scent of theirs. So to me, a rinseless for the last 20 years has been a green apple scent. Therefore, we'll continue with that. And people like the scent. Now, scents or fragrances are something that are very, very personal. And what smells good to you and I may smell horrible to someone else. But the fragrance that we've used in V2 is exactly the same fragrance as in V1. But the milky appearance, that's where the things change a little bit. So before we had a clear liquid, you could see through it. Now it's sort of a milky, someone described it as a creamsicle look. And that's basically what it is. The polymer package, instead of being clear polymers, now they have that milky, frothy sort of look. And speaking of frothy, yes, it still does foam a little. You can still use it in your foam cannon. No, it's not going to replace Incredible Suds in your foam cannon. But yes.
I don't think the foaming of our rinseless is a hugely popular option, only because when it comes down to it, we tell people you gotta use more product. If you want the foam, you gotta use more product. And nobody really wants to spend more money than they have to, right? So it's if I could get amazing cleaning at 256 to 1, but you're telling me to do 32 to 1 or whatever in a foam cannon to get it to foam.
Right.
Why would I do that? So I don't think it's a hugely popular thing, but if you're still into like, I want to foam this occasionally, what do we recommend in the foam cannon, Ivan?
Like you said, 32 to 1. So 1 ounce in the foam cannon. Maybe
like I so rarely ever do it. I like forgot the dilution. Because I'm like, why would I ever? I just put it in a sprayer.
I think we only have one video that we foam the rinseless.
It's cool. It's fun.
Yeah. It's cool. It's fun. That's the only reason you would do it. It doesn't clean any better. It doesn't do anything special. It doesn't do anything magical other than you have a foaming cleaner. In the bucket,
only time Ivan that I've wished we used Incredible Suds versus rinseless in terms of cleaning power.
Yeah.
We sprayed it on. And then we didn't have a pressure washer, so we used a garden hose.
Yeah.
And it was a really dirty vehicle. And then we sprayed it on again and did the contact wash. And I just found that without the pressure washer, and this was a vehicle that hadn't been washed in like 6 months.
Yeah.
I don't think it was rinseless. I think it was just not having the pressure washer. So even if you do foam rinse foam or chemical rinse chemical,
yeah,
I just think having a pressure washer to get into all those nooks and seams and crannies, it helps flush the paint really well. And that was just my anecdotal. This happened one time, and it was with rinseless versus Incredible Suds.
Yeah.
The reason we didn't use Incredible Suds for that is because we didn't have a foam cannon to use it. We had one of those, hose foam cannons, and those just
we have a foamer. Yeah, we had a foamer, not a foam cannon. Yeah, or a foam gun.
So you will get great cleaning power, but if you can get a pressure washer instead of a hose, that'll just help you clean your vehicles no matter what you're doing.
Exactly, yeah.
Anyway, I digress. I get really excited.
Yeah. But so the polymer package, like I say, it gives it that milky look. It changes the feel just a little bit. But that milky look, also those new polymers that we have actually give us better cleaning ability as well. So that's going to be a fun part of it. We have better cleaning. We're already touted as the best cleaning rinseless on the market. We were able to improve that. And one of the surfactants has changed a little bit as well. It's a very minimal part of the formula, but to be compatible with the new polymers, the old one wasn't compatible with the new polymers. So we changed that around as well, part of the R&D process. But in doing all of this, we have kept all the components of the first rinseless that everyone liked, which is the cleaning power, the simplicity of use, the one dilution ratio for everything as opposed to 18 different dilution ratios for 16 different ways of using it. And with that, all the stuff that people like, the good stuff, has remained, but we've just added that little extra slickness, that little extra glide of the sponge.
So for the discerning professional or enthusiast out there who does a lot of cars, they're really into all the products. What are you most proud of? What do you think they're going to notice the most? Because I truly think that our original rinseless is a phenomenal product. I'll stand by any day of the week.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
We got to keep getting better, right? It's like make up any comparison to like a really nice car and then the next generation of car or a computer, phone, whatever. I'm kind of rambling here, but trust me.
Yeah.
Rinseless V1 is amazing. And if that's all you'd ever use it, you'd love it. But what is the discerning, the detailer who knows all the differences and all the, what are you proud of? What do you think they're going to really notice?
The rinseless connoisseur is going to notice it cleans a little bit better. So that grungy interior, you might not be reaching for the APC as quickly as you would have with our other rinseless, or with any other rinseless for that matter. So slightly better cleaning ability, slightly better wetting ability. And by wetting, I don't mean, it gets the surface wet. By wetting, when we say wetting, and it's WHETTING, it means that it's diving into the dirt faster. It's getting that dirt emulsified quicker. So we've accelerated the emulsification process. And it was already very quick. It was already, by the time you've sprayed it on, it's already emulsified. But just that wetting ability is really stronger. And that's the change in surfactant that helped us on that one. But the polymers give us that little additional slickness that some people were looking for. So like I said, the sponge is just going to glide a little easier. Your drying towel is not going to be quite as wet. Because if you were to put the two side by side on an equally dirty car, the new or version 2 rinseless will leave a little less product on the surface. So another good thing. Now, one of the good things we kept, and this was very important to me, it can dry in the sun and not cause any water spots.
Talk about that, because the sun is a powerful
Yeah.
beast. It's a variable that I always encourage people work in small sections if you can in direct sunlight, especially rinseless, work one panel at a time.
Yeah.
But we did extensive testing. We let it dry in the sun. I mean, I don't want to tell you to do this, but I'd rather it happen to you on accident. Don't do this on purpose, because you don't want to deal with this water spots in the sun, no matter what we tell you. Just, I don't know, you might have the hardest water in the world. But anyway, Ivan, just tell me what we found out in our testing in terms of polymer spots, water spots, sunlight use.
So because of the change in the polymers, it's just a little bit safer when using in the sun. V1, extremely safe when using in the sun. This one's just a little bit safer. So that spot that you left on a little too long, or you have a higher TDS. A lot of people still dilute their rinseless wash with a DI water, or they go to the pharmacy and they buy gallon jugs of distilled water. That's really, really not necessary. The rinseless wash, the way it encapsulates the minerals that could be floating in your water, just make them inert. They don't make it to the surface. So it's not a need. So, if you want to use DI water, if you want to use jugs of DI water, if you want to use your treated water, by all means, you can. But it's not a requirement. It's not a necessity. It's actually not going to change anything other than maybe your peace of mind. But in reality, the difference that it can make is negligible. Now, if you have a TDS of, let's say, 2,000 and up, which I've never seen, I've seen close to 1,000. But if you have a TDS close to 2,000 and up, then yes, maybe you might want to just mix in a bit of DI water to that to bring it down to 1,000. But it's really not a need to do that. It's not a necessity to go out and buy jugs of water.
And are you saying that our new rinseless, from what you found, is actually better with potential water spotting than V1, or both were equally as good?
I would say maybe a 10% increase, or a 10% better. But it's not a dramatic change, because our V1 rinseless was already spectacular in that realm.
Yeah, I've not got any complaints from people who are like, I use rinseless and I spotted up the paint. The only issue I ever get, in these customer service emails or DMs, is people will reach out and say, I had an issue with quick beads, right? I used too much of it. I sprayed the whole dang car. I let it dwell too long. There were some streaks, right? Because quick beads is, you wash the car, you rinse the car. On clean, wet paint, you spray it on, I would say, conservatively, a couple panels at a time, tops, especially in direct sunlight.
Yeah.
You don't need to let it dwell that long, up to 30 seconds maybe. And then we rinse it, and we're actually just spreading the quick beads from bottom to top, and then we're flushing it off the paint. Paint gets slick. The beads are insane. It's super safe to dry. So if you don't know quick beads, just know that's one of those that you can have issues if you use too much product, or you're in direct sunlight, or you let it dwell too long in the sun. That's the only complaint I've had from anybody about any of our products in terms of leaving things behind that were tough to get removed. Never rinseless.
No. And, it's one of those products that, what's the saying? If you know, you know. And that is the case with rinseless. Rinseless is one of those things that some people are afraid to use. They're afraid to try a rinseless wash. And then there's the other people that use a rinseless wash. Friend of mine once said, there's two types of people in the world: those that use rinseless wash and those that have never tried rinseless wash. Once you get over that mental fear of, I'm not using a pressure washer to rinse off after I've done the contact wash, you're fine. It makes it easier, makes it faster, and you're using less water, which in today's world is actually a good thing. Some people, it's like, I got more water than I could deal with, and right now, I don't know if you can hear it, but it's pouring rain here.
I can't hear it at all.
Okay, so we have, we can hear the little raindrops on the roof of the bus, and it's just pouring down rain. So, when someone sees that, they go, well, I don't care about water conservation. But yes, you still do need to conserve water. There are some areas in the world where they have water restrictions. So rinseless becomes your friend there as well. But don't be afraid of rinseless. If you've never tried to rinseless, now's the time. Go out, get some V2, some DIY rinseless version 2, give it a try. And in a couple of weeks, we won't be calling it version 2 anymore. It'll just be DIY rinseless because that's what it is. We're not into this V2 and V3 and V4. No, it's just the new version or the improved version. But it's still our one and only rinseless wash.
Yvan, at about 20 minutes into this podcast, I want to reward our loyal listeners with some information.
Yes.
We've been selling out of the Legacy Sponge in like a day. Every time we get it, we sell it out. The other day, someone asked for it. I said, I'm sorry, we just got it back in. Here are our distributors. Please go support them. He comes back to me and he says, the only place that has it is in Hawaii. Every other your distributors are all sold out too.
Yeah.
Do you feel like sharing any information for folks who get very excited about Rinseless Wash V2 about the latest with our Legacy Sponge? Because I think there might be some developments we can talk about. Maybe not. Maybe it's under wraps.
It's still slightly under wraps. But let's just say, very soon, our stocking issues with the Legacy Sponge will be something of the past. We have a different approach with the sponge now. It's still going to be the same great sponge, same great everything that you have to deal with the sponge. One slight change to the sponge. So R&D continues on that as well.
Yes.
So the glue line between the red and the black used to have a piece of fabric between them. We've been able to eliminate that piece of fabric, and now it's just the two foams glued together. What that means is that hard, or what some people term a hard line, is gone. There's still a little glue line, but nothing to worry about. And those that are worried about that, first of all, you should never be using the side of the sponge, be it our sponge or other sponges. If it's not that cut surface, that surface should not be going up against the paint. And there's a couple of reasons for that. Those cuts, first of all, are there to help. If there is a piece of grit that just happens to be a little bigger than what the foam can absorb, it'll tuck into there. That's the first reason. But the second reason is the slits or the cuts or the cubes on the face of the sponge are there for a very good reason. And that is to break surface tension. And that surface tension of the sponge, because we're not going across a flat panel. Very rarely are there vehicles with perfectly flat panels. Unless you're doing the side of an RV, it's not flat. And even then, they're sort of wavy. But if you don't have those slits, you end up with pressure points under the sponge, because now they allow those slits, just like the waffle pad when polishing, allows for better contouring, better following of the surface. This is doing the same thing. So the side of the sponge, yes, you can accidentally hit it against a door handle or a mirror or something like that, but you shouldn't purposely be using the side of the sponge, be it our sponge or any other brand of sponge out there, unless it has those slits on the surface. Those are the surfaces meant to be touching your paint, not the other ones.
I think folks are going to love that our stocking issues of our sponge will see together. And we'll love that too.
Yeah, definitely. There will be also improvements when it comes to our polishing pads. So again, the stocking issues are going away, hopefully permanently. We can't control everything, but for the moment, we can confidently say that our stocking issues will be behind us once we get new stock in.
So Yvan, let's just be clear. Rinseless Wash and the Legacy Sponge, they still play well together, right? We designed these to work together.
Oh, they're still very much brother and sister. They're still doing their job together. They're still exactly what they should be doing. And that being said, though, if you like using a pile of microfiber towels instead of the rinseless sponge, you can. If you like using, a chenille wash mitt, you can. All those things work. And one thing with V2 that was very important to us, just like V1, is that it maintains or keeps your wash media clean. It's really fun in games to have a clean bucket, but in reality, it's your clean wash media that's important. When you take it out of that bucket, you're bringing it to the car, it's clean. All the dirt that's on the surface has been flushed away quite easily with the rinseless wash.
Yeah, and you can see that image with our old rinseless that I just showed. Still works wonderfully with new rinseless. Yvan, you mentioned the fact that you can use microfiber towels to do a rinseless wash. We actually did a video about that, where we did like the 10 microfiber towel method. If you're not sold on the idea of a sponge on your car, a And by the way, thousands of people are using it safely and love it. But if you want the 10 towel method, you want everything to touch the paint once and then never return again.
Yeah.
That video is a great one to watch. And go check it out. It's right here.